I don't know. Do you want to go home?
No. I just wanted. I mean, we're just.
What do you think? How long do you think we're going to go?
45 minutes.
Maybe an hour. Is that okay?
No, we had to do. No.
Okay. We'll shut it down. We'll clean it all up.
You can go for till midnight.
Okay. All right, welcome.
We're back.
We're back. Guess who's back? Back again. Hey, listen, thanks so much for joining us. This is Neiman Abavi with my partner in crime, Chris Gibson, and we are so excited to be back. COVID-19, obviously, we feel for all you folks. I think for us, we took a mental hit because we were ready to do some baseball and some track and field, and we kind of got hurt from there, but we are so happy to be back here on the Cashin Wildcats 2019-22 Sports and Review. So in a world where we got cut short, we wanted to make sure and take an opportunity to kind of take a look back and maybe revisit and relive some of those great moments and what's going to go down as one of a fantastic year in sports for Cashin Athletics across so many great stories. But again, I'm Neiman Abavi. So grateful to be here. Chris, welcome back, brother.
Hey, we're here, and let's talk some sports. Let's get our mind off of that COVID, Corona, whatever it is going on. Let's get our mind off of that and kind of just look back and shed some light and put some spotlight on those kids that, I mean, this year, this senior class, these kids, these underclassmen, I mean, what can you say? I mean,
amazing.
Every single sport almost was competing to win a state championship.
Pretty much.
And I mean, a lot of times you look at a school and they have one really good program, and they have, hey, we have a shot this year in basketball.
Hey, some schools don't even play certain sports, so they can have a really good shot in other sports. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, but what we did this year? We competed and had at a high level, at the top level, in almost. I mean, I'm pretty sure every sport that we competed in this year, and that just says something for our kids, our coaches, and our community, and all the support. And I just see it carrying on for the next, I don't know, however long to come. I mean, forever.
So, Chris, I'm checking some technical pieces. Let's make sure that we've got the right one up. So, before we talk anymore, let's make sure that we've got what we need going on the script here. Do you have it going up?
Yep.
Well, it's pretty typical for us to have COVID-19 or to have technical difficulties when we're up and running, when we're trying to get our stuff going. Actually, we're up and running on this particular stream code. The old one has stopped. So let me make sure that we have what we have in review. Let's see. There it is. We're up. So we've got confirmation that you and I are talking on a screen.
Good.
So that's a good day. So I'll go ahead and put the phone back down. But just to kind of keep going where you kind of landed there, it was. It's just amazing group. It's not just, the senior class is amazing, right? So let's just put that out there. Fantastic group, all the pieces there on both sides. Obviously, a lot of accolades. We'll review those here in a little bit. But this group, this freshman to senior class, just an amazing group of folks. Again, ranked across multiple sports, and you're right. When we think about where baseball led off, the boys team was ranked in the top 10 in Class 2A, and track and field for both boys and girls. Definitely for the girls, they were going to try to essentially get back to and winning back the essentially the trophy for state championship for track. So the story was good. COVID-19 stinks, but we'll try to put a little Band-Aid, a little bit of perfume, and a little bit of love on the side, little shine light on the good. So thanks again for joining us. We really have no idea what's going to happen in the next hour. We really don't. Sammy came over and asked us how long you all going to be. We have no clue. We've got Twitter and Facebook open, so we'll definitely take questions. We've got a few commentary. Parker Burnett, a great sports journalist with the Guthrie News Leader, fantastic guy. He's at almost every event that we have. He sent me some comments. I know Michael Swisher's been in contact with us, and so we'll try to get their perspective. But certainly we'll try to do our best to keep you entertained, maybe answer a few questions that we hit up. So find us on Twitter, on Facebook, ask us some questions. We'll kind of interject. But here's kind of the rundown. We're going to do a quick review around cross country, softball. We'll dive into a little bit of football, powerlifting, and then we'll finish up with girls and boys basketball. Unfortunately, we don't have any updates regarding wrestling and track, of course, track and baseball. The what ifs of 2020, but we'll try to get you up to speed. Hang tight with us as we go through, and just know as we wrap up, we've got a lot of big plans for 2020, don't you? We've gotten to PowerPoint and video apps. Things are complex now for us, and
Right.
I think we're going to start a production
if there's
management
anybody
group.
out there that wants to help us out, because right now it's just Nima and I, and we're trying to do all the production and try to get in front of the camera too. So if there's somebody that wants to help behind the scenes or get in front of the camera, come on out, because the school has provided an awesome opportunity to give the kids a perfect way to just highlight them and put a spotlight on those kids, and that's kind of what Nima and I are trying to do, is just use the tools that the school has given us to really shine on the kids and give back to those the kids, the students, the student athletes that are getting out there, and even the FFA, even the ag kids.
That's right.
We had an opportunity this year to broadcast our Achievement Day, and we're going to do it again next year. So this is just an awesome tool that our administration has provided for us, and if there's anybody out there that wants to jump in and help us out, come on out. The pay is awesome. You get a sign. You get a sign.
You know what? Look, I know, and that's a joke. It's fantastic. Obviously, we do it because we love the community, and I've got 5 kids playing sports, so I'm at the games anyways. Might as well show up and just not yell at the refs, right, Sammy? So just kind of keep it clean. But ultimately, it's just fun. It's fun if you're feeling like you need a little bit of jump start and get a little bit more energy. Hang out with some high school athletes, and you'll get excited. We've got a great bunch of kids, great bunch of coaches, and when you're winning, it's hard not to get motivated and want to be a part of that, right? And we were so blessed. I mean, between football, boys and girls basketball, we were absolutely blessed, weren't we, Chris? In terms of just some amazing experiences.
We kind of talked about that. This being the first year of us doing this, I mean it was a huge, energetic push towards behind pushing us, because every single game, football, basketball, boys and girls.
Yep.
I mean, we weren't going into the game like we're not going to win. We were going into every game going, we are going to smoke the other team, and this is going to be a great night.
As Sammy would say, hashtag all we do is win.
That's right.
And certainly that culture expands in itself, and there's a lot of that going on. So with that, let's dive into it. Let's go ahead and start with our first sport. I did hit up on Twitter, so again, make sure and ask us any questions for this past year, or upcoming year. We'll try to do a quick review, at least for football. And as Mr. Shank offered up, we don't know what's going to happen next year, but something's going to have to happen, and hopefully we'll have something moving forward. So if we go ahead and we'll pull up, did I say cross country?
Yes.
So we'll start with cross country. So we'll go ahead and put that graphic up. So Coach Taylor, she does a lot here at the school, and she definitely runs with cross country. This past year we had four cross-country runners. We had a couple seniors, a junior and a sophomore, Kate and Taylor. Emma Kuklosvika. I think I got that close. She's I think Czechoslovakia. Did she come from Czechoslovakia? So student exchange program. We had Jaron Stone, and we love Jaron. And if you see a picture on here of street cred and photo cred to Brad Stone, for sure does a fantastic. Again, another piece of the community, does a great job of capturing events, school and athletic and school-wide. And then we had Bryson Hogan, a sophomore, running. All 4 competed at regionals this year. I know cross-country doesn't always get a lot of recognition or pub. It's a smaller group, and it kind of coincides in the fall with football and all the action with football and softball, but they actually had a really good year. They all were able to compete in regional this year, and Kate Taylor placed 9th. She had the silver at state, and she also won. Looks like she also won all-state honors in OCA cross-country all-state. So you'll hear that name, Kate and Taylor, a few times as we go forward, but certainly a great year. Did you ever run cross-country? You look like a guy that could run.
I played football. And then on Saturday morning, got up and ran.
Shut up!
Country. No,
Did you really?
My senior year, I wanted to be in shape, and that got me in shape.
Well, I didn't. I should have asked you. I could let you have this segment on the cross country.
Hey, I was going to say, those kids. I mean, it's mentally tough to every day. You're going to have to get out there and put miles, on those sneakers. And every day I live just right down from the school, and during cross country season and football season, that all kind of is together. And we get out there and we see those kids running by, and you can tell when they're leaving the school and when they're coming back, because there's a big difference. But I'm telling you, Kaiten and Jaron, I see them running a lot, and the Hogan's, and then I'm not even going to attempt her last name, but Emma
Kuklowska.
All of those kids are out there working very hard, and I'm excited to see what they have in store. Not Kaiten, she's graduating, but we've got they have a good chance of Jaron has a great chance of really working hard and doing a good being very successful.
Absolutely.
Along with Bryson.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, you're on your own, right? You're competing against others, but you're really honestly competing against yourself and your personal record. How did you keep weight on during football while you're doing cross country? I'm just curious about that.
I didn't.
That's fantastic. So again, congrats to a great year, Coach Taylor and the group. And I know that there's a group of junior high kids coming up that I know that will be filling the ranks on the cross country side. A lot of track folks that'll probably be running in the spring. They'll be running in the fall. And so, certainly something to look out for. Absolutely. So that's cross country. We started off with cross country. We'll quickly go over to softball. So I'm not sure if Coach Chambers is going to love this picture or not, but it's the best one I could find. But congratulations to Coach Chambers, high school teacher of the year. She does a fantastic job. And just a shout out, I know she teaches calculus. My oldest boy's in her class, and she's an amazing teacher. So definitely well deserved and well earned. So if we take a look at softball this year, I think the way Coach Chambers wanted to kind of frame it was they had a good year. They were able to get after it on the district side of things. They actually made the district tournament there at the end of the year. Want to celebrate key graduating seniors: Jill Lindy, Kaylin Niemeyer, and Madeline McCabe. Again, multiple sport athletes from a senior perspective, but she wanted to focus on the future of the softball and really. Three folks that she highlighted were Izzy Reeves at catcher, Ella Suntkin at first base, and Emily Harrell, local Mendel Farms product, over at shortstop, as key cogs coming back, young, youthful folks, and certainly she does believe, based on what she's seen with the junior high folks coming in and doing their thing and training and pitching lessons, etc., that the future is very, very bright with softball. Did you have any interactions on the softball side?
I did not. I think we walked up with my little girls and watched a couple of the games this year, but I didn't get to stick around as much as I would have liked to. Just those little ones like to keep moving, but that's all right too. And they'll be there one of these days, and we'll get plenty of time at the softball field when my little ones get to that age. But no. But one thing I did see was they're out there working hard and getting better. And like you said, Coach Chambers he said, hey, focus on that future, because the future's bright in cashing for the softball. And Coach Chambers is like you said, she's all over the place in this school, and her work ethic is just going to make that softball program get even better every year in and year out, of her pushing and working with those girls. They're only going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we take a look, and you had the graphic up there, Izzy Reeves, Suntkin, and Harrell, again, multi-sport girls that are playing in a lot of different areas, learning about just competition, and that's kind of the beauty about here at Cashion. You get that opportunity, right, to participate in multiple sports, learn different things, and not necessarily have to specialize. I mean, you obviously can if you want to, right, and the opportunity's there, but the opportunity to also play other sports and do other things is there. So best of luck to Coach Chambers going into 2020, 2021. The neat thing about softball is that they have a fall season, which is fast pitch, and then they've got a slow pitch season in the spring. It's more like home run derby in that session. But we've got great facilities here at the school, and certainly look for great things from Coach Chambers moving forward. So with that, we'll do a quick crossover to cheer. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So we had a lot of interaction with the cheer team. Coach Amber Hobgood and Casey Williams have done a phenomenal job really building the program up over the last few years. And I don't have a benchmark of where it was prior, but all I know is since they've been here, they've put a lot of effort, and they've reaped the benefits of that, of having done well. And if you take a look at last year, in 2019, champions of the Champions Cup winner and game day state runner-up. So they've done really, really well, and during the course of the year, the team has continuously grown in terms of dance and routines and stunts, and I think the stunts piece has definitely grown year after year. Any thoughts or comments regarding cheerleading from your perspective?
I didn't get to make it to any of the competitions, but from what we heard in the cheerleaders we had up during some of the halftime interviews, I mean, those girls are, bright, and they know what they're doing, and it's not like who was it?
It was Macy Pickle. Yeah,
she said, "Yeah, you can get out there and throw a ball, but can you throw a person?" And that really makes you think. When you're talking about the stunts and watching some of the things that they've learned, and they're only going to get better too, because there's a lot of the girls, some of that are in Maddox and Kate's age group.
Yeah, like the twist and shouts and the other groups.
They're a bunch of these girls have done this for a long time, and these girls, as these girls get up into junior high and high school, and Coach Hobgood and Coach Casey Williams, they're going to have some really, really talented girls in the next years to come. And these girls that have been the seniors this year, they're really the foundation of this whole cheerleading kind of culture that has been built here in Cashion, and it's only going to get better, and it's because of those girls that have really got out there and started something great.
Fantastic. So I'll never forget that interview with Macy. I won't ever forget it. She was so well spoken, and certainly, and if you follow you see injuries, right? It is a tough sport. It's a tough scenario. It's very physically demanding, and so we just give props to Coach Hobgood and Coach Williams on all the great work that they're doing. Some of our all-star cheerleaders for this past year. Again, we've got a lot of great ones, but want to highlight Riley Chamberlain, Macy Pickle, a couple seniors there, Allison Smith, Avery Gray, and Jaden Hudson, again, getting highlighted in terms of a great year this year. I thank you guys so much. Again, I know we weren't going to be perfect. I knew it. It's okay. And God bless you all. Don't judge us. I know that. But Karen McCabe, thanks so much. Lauren Elliott is a senior softball player. We forgot to put her on there. I apologize. And certainly appreciate that. I know Karen McCabe has got a great athlete in her house. Madeline heading off to participate at the Division I level in terms of track down in Louisiana. So she's certainly a great athlete, and certainly from a fall perspective, supporting and an active participant. I believe she played center field for the softball team. I'm sure Karen may correct me on that as well, but certainly appreciate that, Karen, from that standpoint. So with that, we'll jump right over to we'll go to powerlifting. How about powerlifting? So
cheerleading to powerlifting.
Yes, cheerleading to powerlifting. I like it. So if we skip over to powerlifting, Coach D.L. Robertson and Coach Cochran definitely do great work on the football. And if you think about some guys who are kind of in between baseball, doing other things, focusing on off-season football, powerlifting definitely falls within that. And just like we do in other sports, our powerlifting team had a phenomenal year this year. Fourth place, small school at the 2020 Chandler Powerlifting Invitational. Definitely placed at the 2020 Bridge Creek Invitational. They had regional qualifiers. In essence, were Northwest Oklahoma Regional Class A champions. Small school champions, and they did qualify for state. And when we think about COVID-19, I know we certainly think about all the basketball players that missed out, but we also had our powerlifting team that was set to go that weekend as well to win some state championships. And we definitely feel sorry for those guys and feel for them, putting a lot of hard work. But certainly we'll recognize Kyle Jones, second place at regionals at 168 pounds. Brexton Green, 181, second place regional finish. Colton Southall, first place regional at 198. Caden Harrell, 220. 220? It's ridiculous, Caden Harrell. Caden Harrell, 220, first place at regionals. And heavyweight Steel Mason, another football player, second place at regionals. So a strong group there. A lot of other guys on the team. I see Justice Broadbent and Grady Priest, etc. on the team, Williams as well, and certainly did well. Did you do any powerlifting? Was that an option for you in high school?
I wish I would have, but we didn't. They I think they had a powerlifting program kind of fire up about the time I was in school, but I didn't. And man, I just want to talk about these kids that are doing this powerlifting and the reason why they're so successful. Every single time I would come by this school, every single time in the evenings, them kids are living in that gym.
They are.
Like, they live in there.
Yep.
I walk by going to a basketball game, and they're in there just, I mean, I don't know what they do for so long in there, but they are in there for hours. I mean, they live up there in that gym, and it shows just with their success and their how their strength that they're gaining. And in football, you can see it. I mean, they live in that gym, and it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, and those kids are up there working hard. And Coach Dale Robertson and Coach Cale Cochran, they guiding them and teaching them and showing them the right way to do things and to keeping them healthy. Keeping them healthy.
Yep.
It's hard to stay healthy
Yep.
when you're lifting that much weight.
That's right.
And I mean, you hear of a kid gets a twinge here, twinge there, but for the most part, I think our kids have stayed really healthy, and I think that's a big, big thing, and a big. It's a huge asset to our football team and our school to have that Coach Dale Robertson and Coach Kel Cochran that are there to really help those kids form their bodies and get stronger.
Your statement about living in the weight room, that is not a over-exaggeration.
No.
I'm telling you, every time I walked over in that little gym and looked over in there or in the new gym space, they were in there as well. And you're right. It's the coaching piece, it's the time piece, it's the training, it's the meal prep. You ever watch the South Hall Family Facebook page? You'll see the work that goes into not only gaining weight, but gaining the right weight.
Yep.
And certainly kudos to those guys, again, on a great year. Had a nice text here from, and keep them coming, Jeremy Branson. He says, first thing I think of when I see Gibson is powerlifting. Yes, if you were a heavitweight. Yes, so certainly, you can trip down. It's been a couple years since high school, but
Hey, I burned all my fat off, and I'm lean and mean.
Amen. Amen. You're efficient.
Jeremy.
You're an efficient machine. That's absolutely right. Let's take a look into Facebook and Twitter. I know we've got some questions coming in for football and basketball. Certainly appreciate that. You guys keep that coming in. Absolutely appreciate it for sure. I see Lee Woody and Parker Burnett chiming in. I appreciate that very much. When we think about, again, the COVID-19 piece, really, again, we got to feel for the spring folks. I'm not sure what's worse, never having a season start or getting to a place where you can jump in to be a state champion and not have that opportunity. I'm not sure what's worse. They're both equally bad, in my opinion, but it stinks either way, right? So you're a track team. You've been a state champion in the past. You're highly rated. You have a strong chance to win again. You've got a couple folks who potentially have the chance, or who are already moving on to the Division I level. This was their swan song, and then you have others who, on the basketball side and the powerlifting team, who worked the whole season, saw met a lot of their goals, but came up short because of the COVID-19.
Yeah, and I don't know what would be worse is working all year long in basketball and achieving those goals and getting to that precipice of, hey, we're playing in the state tournament, and getting that taken away, or not even getting to compete at all. I mean, I don't know which one is worse, because the thing is, like Madeline McCabe, you knew she was going, as long as she stayed healthy,
Yep.
You knew she was going to have a chance to
Repeat.
Yes.
Repeat. Yeah.
Maybe was there? Did she win? If her mom can tell us, but I mean, she had a chance to do something that hardly anybody gets
Right.
a chance to do in high school.
Right.
And just to not have that opportunity is it's sad, but at the same time, you're happy for her that she is getting a chance
level.
to go to that
Yep.
next level and
Yep.
really showcase her skills and just show people that she has still been working hard
Yep.
during all this that's going on. And like Sam Brown,
Yep.
he had a chance to try to he got a silver medal last year.
Yep.
This was his year
Yep.
to win that gold medal, and didn't get a chance to even compete at all.
Yep.
And but another good thing about him, he's going to get to try to, he's going to get to go to that next level and showcase his skills at that next level. I think they're actually both going to the same school.
Same school. Yep. Very good. So that was a rundown on some of the sports that maybe don't always get a lot of the attraction or attention that maybe some of the bigger sports do. And certainly we want to make sure and highlight all of our Cashion student athletes here. They do a phenomenal job and again have had some great results. And we certainly wish them the best of luck. Softball, cross country, powerlifting, cheer going into next year. So what we're going to do is we're going to transition. I'm just gonna let you know I love football. Do you love football? I love football. If you ever watched any of our broadcasts, I think you could tell I love football. I get excited for a 5-yard run. I'm gonna learn. I think baseball was really good for me. I had to be
hang back.
I did. When we did the baseball, there's just a couple games. Side story here. We were outside, sitting in behind the backstop next to fans from other schools. Well, yeah. I can't be loud and obnoxious to some folks,
You could. But
well, they could, but I only had Dirk Fippen next to me. I don't know. I needed a posse. So some of those folks from Mississippi and Tennessee, they were, they would have brought it. So from that standpoint, I had to be quiet. I had to be calm. I could still make the jokes. I could still cut. Yeah. But I had to be calm, and that I think was good for me. So I'm we're not going to go too far ahead. In terms of next year, I'm definitely going to work on not blowing out your all speakers. But the idea is that football was one of my passions this year, and certainly it was great, going on that run. And Chris, you've done a fabulous job putting together kind of a quick. I mean, it's not easy. We had a lot of great highlights, right?
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, I've kind of worked over this week of just kind of picking out a few of the highlights and picking a few games to kind of highlight. Yeah. And I was telling Nima, if I were to make a highlight video of our football season, it would have lasted 2 hours. If I'd have got all of the highlights, right. It would have lasted 2 hours. I mean, there were so many, and so I just kind of picked a few games and really kind of highlighted a few of the games, and I didn't even get some of the like with Tonga game. I didn't even get any plays from that game in there, and there were some huge plays in that game, So, but I hope that some of the kids can enjoy the little highlight video that I did do, and then for the football, and then I put a couple of game highlights together for the basketball. All
right, so we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for the dirt, so you hang tight. I know you all aren't doing anything else tonight.
What is there to do?
There's no Tuesday night basketball or baseball tonight, so no playoffs. So we're going to run this video. It's a great little video here on the Cashion season, and then what we'll do is we'll come back, talk a little Cashion football. While you're watching, it's about 5 or 6 minutes long. While you're watching, hit us up on Twitter. We're going to start to try to collate some of these questions. And we'll talk about last year, and of course we're going to talk about next year and what the promise is of possibly getting back to the state championship. So enjoy this great video here from my man Chris Gibson. Yep, fake the shotgun. Harmon going deep to a wide open Zebra with a catch at the 25, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Cashion Wildcat.
Walking with lambs. You can't be a goddess. You're only a man. I'm a break in the silence, so you understand. You can't tell.
Snap, hand off to Alex. Net in the hole. He keeps his feet. Goes to the left. Looking for the end zone. And he's in on the run. Touchdown, Cashion Wildcats. Handoff. It's a keeper by Ben. Up the middle. Touchdown.
You're only a man. I'm a break in the silence, so you understand.
rush. Screen and blown up, and Justin Broadman with the tip to the 25, 20. Do we have a chance for a pick six? 10, 5, touchdown! Snap, hand off to TJ left side, and he's.
I am a lion, walking with lambs. You can't be a god if you're only a man. I'm a break in the silence, so you understand. You can't tell me, no, you know that I am a lion.
No time. First down and goal. Hand it to Harrell, and Harrell barrels into the end zone. And just like that, Cashin jumps on top. 6-0 with the extra point upcoming. They win.
Walking with lambs. You can't be a god if you're only a man. I'm a break in the silence, so you understand. You can't tell me, no, you know that I am a lion.
Running back. Snap, fake, looking through it, pass, looks like a double move. Braxton Green in the end zone. Touchdown, baby! Touchdown, Christian Rocket!
Walking with lambs. You can't be a god if you're only a man. I'm a break in the silence, so you understand. You can't tell me, no, you know.
Formation, ace up top, empty backfield, shotgun, roll to his left, looking to pass. Bryce Miller in pursuit, and there's fumble! It's caught by Nick DeBuffy! And interception for the sophomore! Johnny on the spot! Oh my goodness, touchdown, Cashin!
You can't be a god if you're only a man. I'm a break in the silence, so you understand.
Blitz is on, snap, fake. He's looking deep. He's got Braxton Green in the corner. He's got a chance. He's going to go up. Oh, he made the catch one-handed.
Touchdown. You better give it to him. That boy made a great catch.
From the gun, left hash. Hand off. There's Roberts angling left and cutting back to the right and into the end zone. Touchdown. And Cashin is on the board. Zone at the 15-yard line. Roberts will line up to the right of the quarterback, Harmon, a bit behind him. Option. Harmon calls his own number to the sideline, to the end zone. Touchdown. Ben Harmon from 15 yards out.
I'm a break in the silence, so you
And off to Roberts into the end zone. He will score from 7 yards out, and the Wildcats jump on top 32-16 with 4:12 to play in the ball game. One more knee should do it for the Wildcats. There you go. Commence the celebration in Cashin. The Wildcats are going to the state championship game.
Hey, it's really easy to make a highlight video when like every play is a highlight. So great. Hey, those kids, man, we know they didn't get their goal.
Right.
But I mean, they put the effort, the time, the heart into that season, and it showed, and everybody that was a part of it, it was just a fun ride to be a little bit of a part of it. And if I was on that team, I couldn't even imagine that feel of being on a team that was that special. And it was just awesome to be able to watch them play and then go back and make those videos like that. And like I forgot, some of the things that happened during the season, like that run that Caden Harrell had against Minko. There's like 30 seconds left, and they're like, all right, let's run it up the middle. And he just drug like the whole Minko team to the end zone and was like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, and it was just memories like that as I was watching those, going back and making that video. It was just awesome to think that those kids are going to have those memories forever, and it'll be special to them forever. And the thing is, Caden Harrell's not even a senior. He'll be back next year dragging those Minko kids across the end zone again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I couldn't agree with you more on that. And that's one of the beautiful things about Cash and Wildcat Television.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. That's one of the beautiful things about Cash and Wildcat Television, and the fact that we've got that archive and go back and watch. I know I went back and watched that Mingen basketball game just last night, and certainly great to kind of help relive some of those moments and to capture it and kind of memorialize it. Certainly a great year. Fell short, but a lot to be proud of in terms of what the team was able to accomplish. So if we we'll work through a few things here, but we did, as I pull up a few graphics, we did get some few things here on Twitter. Karen McCabe definitely we feel bad, obviously. I know she does for Madeline. She was 4th in the nation in the high jump, and really had a great opportunity to do really, really well this year in terms of state record, etc. And certainly feel for her amongst others, and definitely a lot of folks commenting on the powerlifting as well and getting some text on that. Let's go ahead and we'll pull up the year in review for football. So I like this picture of Shaq. It's got the sun in the background. He's pondering and thinking. I typically see him on the sideline yelling at people, but this must have been at a really disturbing time of the game, or a relaxing maybe at the end of the game or before the game. But again, congrats to Coach Shackelford, one of the winningest coaches in the state. Certainly, regardless of class, has put together a phenomenal program, winning every year. Has been to the state championship several times. Has had tough goes, has done probably more with less than other folks. This past year definitely had all the pieces and just ran into a buzzsaw and Ringling this year at UCO. But finished the regular season number 1 in the state, Class A. District champs, went undefeated across district play, conference play, or out of conference play, or out of district play, into the playoffs, and finished the season 14-1. Tough game to Ringling. When you think about this past year in football, is any one game or any particular thing stand out to you?
I kind of brought up that Minko game and that run that Caden Harrell had, and that game right there is kind of the game that sticks out to me when I look back and think, what am I going to remember about that season? And the reason for that is, we had kind of cruised to that point because we had, the CHA game, we had it, they gave us all we wanted, but we didn't have a complete game.
Right. It's almost like they just kind of showed up to that game. It kind of, and a couple of, I think CHA in that game had credit to them, had a couple of weird plays that kind of went in their favor. But it took a couple plays late in the game to seal it.
Game. And then, but up into that Minko game, we hadn't really had just a big test. And I can remember that week, I talked to Kel Cochran, and he lives just right down the road from me, so I'd always kind of pick his brain, and he'd be like, the boys are ready, and going into that game, when I'm going to a football game, I still have those feelings of excitement and nervous and all that energy, and it was just, I could just imagine what those kids were going through because, hey, this was a top 5 team coming into our house, and we wanted to show everybody that, yes, we deserve to be the number one team in the state. And man, that game was really what kind of showed me, yeah, we're going to make it to the state championship. And because they came in focused on that game, and just from the get-go, they controlled that game. And to have a great game from start to finish, and just kind of put a very, very good team away like they did was kind of what stood out to me on the season. And one thing I'll kind of always remember and look back on as a memory of the season would be that Minko game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Senior night, all blacks.
Yep.
The fact that Cashin went into Minko last year to win district, right? With a very, very talented Minko team even last year into this year. And I want to say that the banter between Minko and Cashin wasn't necessarily disrespectful.
No.
It was, but there was banter. They were talking.
Well, they were good.
Minko had a great offense this year, a great defense. Statistically, both groups, both Cashin and Minko, were in the top 5 in the state statistically on both sides of the ball. Both had faced some good competition leading up to that game, but I think we all felt it was going to be Cashin's to lose, and to your point, they showed up on senior night and took care of business.
Yep. And those Minko kids, they had some great athletes like Parker Winter.
Yeah,
I can remember him.
Absolutely.
He was a great kid, and I think he wound up getting hurt in that game.
He did, ACL.
And it kind of put a damper on the rest of their season. But up until that point, he was having one of the best seasons of everybody.
He was.
In the,
receiving and as a defensive
yes,
back. Yeah.
And you hate to see when a kid like that is that talented. And did you say he's going to move? Is he going to play anywhere?
He might. I can't remember if there was one player for Minko. I know their quarterback ended up signing with a school up in Minnesota, or I think maybe Minnesota, Rochester Community College.
Okay.
And I think they had another receiver who also was a basketball player. I want to say he did, but
But
certainly could.
Yeah, it just shows you though that they had that caliber of team that we had, but it was just we had more horses than they did. Like Lane Broadbent, he kind of said, "Hey, we got horses on this team all over the field, and they will." And he's like, "We're just going to pull away from teams," and that's kind of what they did. But that was kind of what stood out. The game that stood out to me. You kind of.
Well, we were talking earlier. I think the Barnstall game for me was the one that stood out, and I don't know if it was just because I was so angry about our setup, but I think if you include the mud, having to go on the road as the number 1 team in the state, for the quarterfinals like that, a hungry Barnstall team, I think, and then just what happened to Sam and everything else in that game, that one just stood out for me, and just the way that it was a tough game. Nothing came easy in that game, but they still, just like they did all year, made it look easy. They made the plays when they needed to, and my favorite quote, "Defense travels." Chris, when you said that, that stuck with me and resonated. It still will resonate. It's something of when we talk about Coach Wood and his defense and DL and the whole group, just a fantastic bunch of kids. And really, I know the offense got a lot of the highlights. It was the defense. I think we all agree it was the defense this year, led by Ryan Baker and the group, that just did a phenomenal job. So I have a Parker Burnett from the leader. He chimed in. I asked him, I said, "Hey, give me a story. What are some of the things that stood out to you?" And from a football perspective, I can't disagree with him. Back-to-back undefeated regular seasons. That squad learned. They only had 3 graduating seniors, I believe. Was it just one? No. It was just one. It was Griffin. Griffin Land. They had 1 graduating senior, so that team learned. I know Coach Shack and the group, they redefined how they were going to coach and approach the season, but again, back-to-back undefeated regular seasons. Braxton Green's OBJ game against Texoma. 4 touchdowns. He had 4 touchdown passes or catches, maybe 2 running. I don't know. It was a ridiculous day for him.
Yeah, and not just catches. It was Randy Moss, one kid, just right over the top.
He did.
The next one, OBJ one-handed, bring it in and say, "Get off me!" That's touchdown. And just a great game by Braxton that game, and those were some of the highlights that were on that video.
And Braxton being a junior, he'll be one, when we talk about next year, he'll be one of those guys to kind of circle and highlight. You mentioned Caden Harrell. Parker offered up the defense against Pawnee, I thought was phenomenal, holding them, shutting them down like that. and making it to state once again a huge accomplishment. I think those are a lot of great points for Parker. Thanks, Parker Burnett at the Guthrie News Leader. Definitely, again, does a great job of covering, along with Michael Swisher with the Kingfisher Press and just with Squirtle, etc. But I definitely saw that. If we take a look at some individual type of awards, when you go 14-1 and you make it to the state title, there's some good things that happen on the individual level, and so if we take a look, there's a lot.
Yep.
And so from a graphic perspective, we've got several players of the year. We had Sam Brown, I believe, was corner of the year. We had a kicker of the year in Hayden Aaron. We had, I believe, who else did we have in terms of all year? I'm trying to read. I know that Ryan Baker was defensive MVP. Caden Harrell was the overall MVP of the conference, of the district. Brexton Green, all district wide or DB. We had Colton Ogletree, all district defensive lineman. Bryce Miller, a guy that doesn't get a whole lot of pub, but he was our VIPE character winner. We'll mention that here in a little bit, but he was all district linebacker. We had Quinlan Priest, lineman. We had T.J. Roberts at running back, and Alex Nabavi at district wide receiver. So certainly from a district perspective, well representative from the Cashin side of things.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you looked on that team was just standouts. And yes, we have had a lot of seniors, but there was a lot of juniors on that team that carried the load and stepped up really big, like Justice Broadbent. Farrell got hurt this year, at the beginning of the year. Justice stepped in and just, blossomed as a football player. And really the coaches were probably like, okay, we got this. We're going to make a spot for him. And he fit into that defense perfectly.
Yeah.
And just flying around the ball, knocking people's heads off. And then when Farrell did get to come back, that was just like a boost of energy.
That middle linebacker, that crew between Farrow, Harrell, Bryce Miller, to Justice.
Yep.
I don't know if there was a better linebacking crew in the state than those guys as a unit. It was amazing.
Because they couldn't get outside on that speed where Justice has, and then anything inside, it was getting shut down by those
middle
other
linebacker.
guys.
And what that also did? That also freed up someone like Colton Ogletree to swing back down and play a little bit defensive end and gave the team a lot more flexibility. And to your point, Justice is one of those. He's like a Roy Williams kind of a guy. He's kind of a nickel backer where he could play a little linebacker, but probably could come back in coverage.
How many pick sixes did he have?
Well, he had 2 in the OCA game alone, and he may have 3. Or he had 1 in CHA. So so he may have had 3 or 4. Certainly,
I was giving him a hard time. I was saying, you can't just intercept the ball. You got to intercept it and go score a touchdown. That's all you've done. And
he's a heck of a running back too, though. So on the other side of things, in terms of you would review some of the other, in terms of major awards, Ryan Baker was named to the OCA All-State team, a great honor. Again, Cashin football has had several. I think he may have been the 14th or 5th, maybe 16th football player. He also made the Oklahoman first team All-State, which is a fantastic honor. Joining him at class as a Class A All-Star were Alex Nabavi and Colton Ogletree. So in order to become an All-Stater, you have to be nominated as an All-Star, and certainly kudos to those guys winning All-Star at that level. Great question here. So certainly we'll have to ask that one. Lee asking, firing a question over to Chris. So from a year in review perspective, a lot of awards, and actually they kind of continue. If we just take a look at the Oklahoman, which does a great job, Cameron Jordan, he was up in the booth with us, Nick, Abby, and I want to say maybe Michael Jackson. I can't remember. They have a nice group there with their prep sports there at the Oklahoman. But the Oklahoman puts out a Little All-City team, and for football this year, Coach Shackelford, and this includes all teams in the city metro area, from all the way up to 3 or 4A at least. And Coach Shackelford was Coach of the Year, definitely well-deserved. First team, Ryan Baker, Caden Harrell at linebacker. Alex Nabavi made the Little All-Oklahoma City second team at wide receiver. And then to your point, look at in terms of honorable mention, we haven't even talked about Ben Harmon as a sophomore quarterback coming in. Ben Harmon, T.J. Roberts, T.J. Roberts was just just a quiet assassin. You know, all of a sudden you look up, he just had 4 touchdowns. He just had 4 touchdowns in a semifinal playoff game like he did against Pawnee. Great guy. He's been playing, you know, all 4 years for Cashin. Brexton Green at wide receiver we discussed. Brandon Collier, he had that great highlight. Certainly did a great job on that big boy, but certainly anchored that left side. Colton Ogletree, Quinlan Priest, Gunnar Simpson at D-line, and Justice Broadbent at linebacker. Again, this is not just Class A. This is all the schools in the metro area in terms of little, and in terms of, I believe, at least 3A and below. So you're looking at Heritage Hall, a lot of schools like Piedmont, et cetera, that are included. And so certainly when we talk about talent, you know, they certainly had that here on this year's team.
Yeah, I want to go back and highlight T.J. Roberts. The kid he's a senior this year, and I got to know T.J. through he always comes out and umpires for our Little League baseball, and the kid is just always a really good role model for the other kids, and he gets out there and engages with them, and has always been a stand-up kid. And this year in football, you know, he is kind of like, put me where you need me, and I'm going to run hard, and I'm going to do whatever is needed to win. And he may not have got the or was not highlighted a lot of the times, but when he was, I mean, it was just like teams were like, where is this guy? Like, we know he's there, we know he's special, but how do y'all have all these horses, and then, hey, let's throw TJ and really highlight him today, and then he gets 4 touchdowns and 5, or he'll catch a
touchdown,
backfield and go for a touchdown. The kid has always kind of had a special place in my heart, just because he's always given his all out there, and he's helped us out with the Little League. He's helped us out with the kids, and he's always seemed to me, and has always been a very stand-up guy, and I appreciate that from a parent standpoint, and I just like I said, I just wanted to kind of highlight him and really tell him thanks for always being a stand-up kid and being there for the little ones, and being out there and really helping out when it's needed. Yeah,
TJ, a great one, multi-sport athlete, baseball, football, he's a 3-year starter in basketball, probably could go play golf in college. I mean, he's just a phenomenal athlete, and I think Coach Shack mentioned this a lot, the fact that we were so deep that it was one of our strengths, that, you know, we didn't have to play TJ. He could have played defense, could have played linebacker, but he didn't, and he got to stay fresh and certainly support us on the offensive side. But yeah, if we keep things moving along, I don't want to land too long on football. I know we could probably talk all day. Some other awards here for the Cashin Wildcats in football. CTB Northwest Oklahoma All-Stars, Ryan Baker and Alex Nabavi. Vite Player with Character, Bryce Miller. We had numerous Oklahoman Players of the Week nominees. I know Caden Harrell, T.J. Roberts, Brexton Green, based on individual performances. Leader, the Guthrie paper, the News Leader Player of the Week, Harrell, Nabavi, Green, Harmon. And the 101 Classic Bowl has been moved to July 1st to the 3rd. That's in Woodward, Oklahoma. And we have a couple invitees. Ryan Baker and Alex Nabavi will have a chance to finish out their career. I'm not sure if the OCA Mrs. Moore is here. We may have to ask her, but I'm not sure if the OCA football All-State game will occur. But at minimum, Ryan and Ryan will have a chance to play in the Classic Bowl with Alex coming up. If we take a look at coming up in terms of next year's schedule, right? We've got a lot of things happening.
Looking forward.
So we've moved districts. Things have changed around. When we think about offense, obviously key returners, Ben Harmon at quarterback. I know we had a couple questions. I know even Parker even asked about, is he gonna surpass or meet his brother Matt Harmon's numbers, who almost broke a lot of state records, if not maybe owned a few. And in this offense, it's very possible with returning folks like Caden Harrell at running back, Brexton Green, Mason Manning. You've got folks like Landon Lagasse coming up, possibly at wide receiver. So there's a chance where those numbers continue to grow as Ben continues to grow himself as a quarterback into his junior year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think I was looking on Twitter, and Lee said, he's kind of Matt's great, and Ben's probably saying, hey, I'm shooting for your numbers, but at the same time, Ben is the kind of kid. It doesn't matter to him the numbers.
Right.
He's there to win.
Yeah.
And if he needs to tuck down the ball and run, he can do that. If he needs to sit back in the pocket and throw the ball. He can do that. He's the kind of kid that looks at his coach and says, "What do you need me to do this week and to win the game?"
Yeah. Absolutely. So if we take a look at next year's schedule, I'm not sure what's going to happen out of district. So I'm not sure where OSSA is going to land. I'm hearing a lot of different rumors. I'm sure you've probably heard the same about maybe, changes, delays, etc. But if we were just to say, hey, listen, we're going to play it out like it is, Coach Shackelford is not doing himself any favors going out and basically So basically saying, hey, let's throw all comers, and really that's the story. Starting off with 2A, Rejoice Christian, which has been a perennial power in Class A football. That's a tough game. Perry, I mean, that's a 3A. Or I think, are they 3A? I think they might be 3A. You've got Nico, who's always tough in Class A football, and then Thomas. I mean, another traditional powerhouse football team. I think they have at least one player on there that's getting some Division I looks and some offers. Certainly from that standpoint, certainly no I guess easy play there. Certainly going to be tested. And so if you're thinking about Cashion going undefeated next year in the regular season, that might be a tough draw. But the team is talented. It's possible, but it's going to be, they will have earned it basically if that were the case.
Jackson Drake, our ag teacher, Miss Drake's son, he chimed in and had a question: is what do you think our record's going to be next year in football? And just to your point, just look at this schedule and like you said, the powerhouses that we're going to have to play just before we even get to our district play. It's going to be a tough road to hoe, and if we play up to our potential, we lost a lot of seniors last year, but we have studs coming back.
Yep.
And like I was saying, those kids live in the weight room. Those kids that were sophomores last year and freshmen last year that might not have been the starters and been the stars on the field, they were in that weight room and they're getting bigger every single day, and they're still working. And I guarantee you, I mean, I don't know how much they've gotten to get in the gym with all this going on, but they're finding weight rooms that they're building themselves or
garages.
Somewhere, and they are working hard. And those kids that are juniors this year will be seniors next year. They're going, hey, we're not done.
Yeah,
we're not done just because that senior class is. We're here. We're going to be seniors next year, and we're ready to go.
And maybe third time will be a charm, right? So the fourth time is a charm. But if we take a look at the schedule, if we kind of focus on district play, a couple of games that do stand out are Tonkawa. They finished 5-5, but they happen to be in the same district last year as Pawnee, Pawhuska, Barnstall. It was in Morrison. It was a tough district. It's probably one of the toughest districts, along with A3 where Cashion was in. They went 5-5. They look to be returning some key players, so that will be one to look out for. And of course, Crescent, Warren 74 rivalry game. That's always going to be one that will be key. But where the district may not have as much talent, you can see where Shaq's basically saying, "Look, we got to go out and test this team." And as long as they finish undefeated in districts, right, then they'll have a chance to have a high seed, and they'll have a chance to get that third round game. Since the West will get that third round game back on our side, they'll have a chance potentially, if they can go out, win districts, do well, they can get that third round home game like Barnstall had against us last year.
Yep.
Very good. So in terms of, we're probably going to get ourselves in trouble if we start to mention certain players, but, I got to believe guys like Caden Harrell, definitely, he's getting D1 looks, right? So that's going to be somebody on both sides of the ball. Who's somebody that, we talked about the middle linebackers, we talked about, South Hall, we talked about a lot of linemen coming back, Hayden Branch, et cetera, in the group, Kyler George, Nick Nababi will have a chance to come back and fill the spot where Bryce Miller left at middle linebacker, and the defensive back should be good to go with Lagasse, Fippen, and maybe somebody sliding into that safety spot. We'll see maybe a Mason Manning coming in. What is there a player out there that maybe caught your eye? Could be a junior, about to be a senior. Is there someone that caught your eye that you're really wanting to look at in terms of development? It could be something that we already talked about already.
Well, we talked about Justice.
Right.
Justice is somebody that I want to see on the offensive side of the ball really shine next year.
Okay.
Which I think he would have. He has the potential. He is. I mean, kid is fast.
Yes.
Really fast. put a little more weight on him, put him in the backfield or not, just let him get on the edge and run. I mean, that's going to be something that Coach Shack, I want to see how he uses him on the offensive side of the ball. Now, maybe not a skill position, but Colton Southall, that kid is one of the kids that I see in the gym every day, all day, and I want to see him on that line just blowing people up. Somebody that, my dark horse that I think next year may shine is Jake Branson. Have you seen him?
I have seen him.
The kid is fast, and he works relentlessly, and I know his dad is going to put him through a workout this summer. I already talked to him and talked to his mom, and they're saying, hey, school's out, but, hey, the gym's open. And I think he is going to be one of those kids that people are just going to say, where did really another Cashin, great running back, and he's going to be one of those kids that Coach Shack is going to be able to use and kind of surprise some people.
Absolutely. I think from that freshman class that are about to be sophomores, I think another name that might be familiar to a lot of our folks is in the Brown family. Max Brown may have a chance to come in at safety, but the two guys I really want to look at on the offensive side is really going to be Ben Harmon. I want to see that jump from sophomore to junior. I think there was a lot of guys on that senior class that took the load from a leadership perspective. I want to see, Ben gets his nose dirty. He's not afraid to run, drop his pads, get low, get the extra yard. I want to see his development from a leadership perspective, managing the team on the offensive side. And really, I want to see that from Brexton on the defensive side. I can see Caden Harrell kind of being out there, being a leader. I'd like to see where Brexton lands in terms of his leadership. He's got all the tools, all the athletic ability. But what he does at safety and kind of ball hawking, last year you had Alex Nabavi kind of working the defensive backs, getting everyone in position on calls. Ryan Baker, Bryce Miller doing that on the defensive side. Certainly would like to see that happen with these up and coming juniors. That's going to be the thing. The athleticism is there. It's the leadership. It's the intangibles that I want to see grow.
Not like you said, like talking about Brexton. He's a kid though has done it. This will be his third year as starter, and I think he may actually got some playtime as a freshman.
Yeah, he did.
And,
he did. He had a lot of play.
I think the end of last year, or the year prior to this one, it was, I thought he was a senior, and then start the football season, we start doing this, and I'm like, we're still going to have him next year?
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, and his versatility, right? His ability to play wide receiver and also running back. We saw that Coach Shack was definitely had a lot of different facets of the game. Alex did that as well, a little bit of running back and slot wide receiver. Brexton will definitely be able to continue to do that, running on screens, reverses, out of the backfield, etc. So certainly will be an interesting year, and I'm looking forward to it. So with that, we'll go ahead and transition to girls basketball. You know what I'm going to do? I don't have a New Year's resolution, but I'm not going to say Lady Wildcats anymore. I'm just going to say Cashin basketball. I don't know. It has nothing to do with being political. I don't know. Sometimes it just bothers me to have to say Lady Wildcats. So it's just going to be the girls basketball team. So the Cashin Wildcats led by Coach Taylor. So we'll go ahead and pull up that graphic. Coach Taylor finished 19-10 this year. In her first year, taking over for a legend in Totsie Manning, and I'm not just saying that because she's in the building, but certainly a lot of great run for the girls team, and this last year was, in my opinion, going to be I thought a rebuilding year, but that was not the case. Coach Taylor there was some hiccups earlier in the year, here and there. I think that they had some opportunities to win some tournament championships. Failed, but I felt like Coach Taylor did the most with the team that she had, with all the injuries that they had. I knew you were going to say that. I mean, if there was a coaching award to coach through injuries, I think Coach Taylor was able to do that this year in 2019, 2020, and I think that's going to be I think something that's part of her legacy in terms of where she can look back and look in terms of her level of success and her growth as a coach, even in her first year, what she was able to do with that. So 19-10, and the regular season number 14. Did you get a tweet or a text?
Got a text.
Okay.
Jackson Drake is hammering me with some questions.
Okay.
They're good ones.
Okay. So the Cashin Wildcat, the girls team finished off number 14 in Class 2A. 19 and 10 district champions. Were they district champions? Yes, they were district champions. Yeah, in the tournament. That's exactly right. Moved on to win regional championship, and then found themselves in the area consolation finals, falling to, I believe, to Caddo in a very tough game. And if Cashion would have won that game, they were one game away from state. They would have gone to state 5 out of the last 6 years.
Yeah.
An amazing run. So kudos to Coach Taylor. Great year. I think she should feel very good about what she was able to accomplish with a couple of seniors, Cedar Stewart, who was able to come in later in the year, and of course Caton Taylor, who's been a cornerstone for the team. The future definitely looks bright, which we'll talk about here in a second. Any thoughts on you were there with us for girls basketball. Any thoughts from the team perspective? Any games that stand out for you?
Well, I just want to say, as you were talking, and you knew I was about to say it. All of
I didn't steal your thunder.
The injuries that they had, and to where they were able to get through those, and they had a couple girls come back, but to be able to get through that, have the success that they did in getting to the playoff, and be that close to making the state championship again with a bunch of young girls. That was one of the questions that Jackson asked. Who do you think will be one of the starting 5 in the girls and the guys? We'll get to the guys in a little bit, but for the girls, you got Brooke Shelley was a sophomore.
Yep.
Lauren Lamb was a sophomore. Neely Beddick, she was a junior.
Izzy Reeves.
Izzy Reeves is a sophomore.
Yeah, and then we had a slew of girls that were hurt, Shank and the group. So To be able to pick who's going to be a starting 5, there's going to be some competition. Yep, absolutely.
To who is going to start next year, and they're going to be. Yeah, they lost Caton. She was a huge kind of catalyst for the team.
Cedar Stewart.
Yeah, she was huge. My mind is going.
Kaylin Niemeyer.
Kaylin Niemeyer was a senior. Those girls right there were big parts of the team, but the future is bright for the Cashion Wildcats, and I think they're only going to get better, and they're going to be good for the next 3 or 4 years.
That might be a theme that carries over to the boys' side as well. So certainly, if we take a look at some individual honors, again, going 19 and 10, getting to the area consolation finals, it just doesn't happen on its own. And certainly there was a slew of awards on the individual side. Three Rivers All Conference, Caton Taylor, Neely Tilly Beddick, along with Cedar Stewart, certainly made the All Conference team. Honorable mention, as you mentioned, Brooke Shelley and Lauren Lamb. The future is certainly bright. If we look at the OGBCA, the Oklahoma Girls Basketball Coaches Association, if you look at the All-State team, Caton Taylor was able to make the All-State team, and certainly joining a slew of other Cashion Wildcats winning that award, certainly keeping that trend going. She was also OGBCA All-District with Cedar Stewart. Caton Taylor also was a winner of the OCA All-Star by class, so another great recognition for her. And then, we mentioned the Oklahoman. They do a wonderful job of offering up the Little All-City team, et cetera. And so, honorable mention, Caton Taylor and Cedar Stewart made the Oklahoman Little All-City team, the Oklahoman Class 2A All-State team. Honorable mention, Caton Taylor, Cedar Stewart, and Neely Tilly Beddick. They do not have a second or third team. It's either first team or honorable mention. So, actually making honorable mention per class in the Oklahoman is a pretty good deal. And then CTB Sports Radio All-Star Caton Taylor, so she'll be recognized in the Enid area. And I know, Chris, we probably missed an award. I know it happened, and we're going to get a Twitter. We'll do our best to make sure we didn't miss anybody from that standpoint. But certainly a lot.
Let us know, and we will blast it out.
Yeah,
on
absolutely,
Twitter and Facebook.
Absolutely.
Because that's why we kind of do this, is just kind of put the spotlight on these kids that are working hard and getting having these accomplishments.
Definitely in terms of Drake asked a great question regarding Jackson asked a great question regarding starters for next year for girls. I couldn't agree with you. Coach Taylor will have a nice barring injury, so not do all the things that we need to do. She's going to have a chance to reload.
The cupboard is full.
Yeah, and I think Lauren Lamb, her energy. She was one of the top scorers on the team anyway. Lauren will certainly, I think, kind of fill the role of Cedar Stewart for sure. You have Neely that will probably maybe pick on a little bit more of the point guard role that maybe Caton had. You've got Brooke Shelley, Izzy, one of the best double block or high post, low post combinations you'll find around, and then you'll have others kind of folding in from injury, et cetera. It should be very, very, very exciting next year. We're still here, Mr. Jackson. Can't kick us out. We're 7:45. We'll still keep going. We're close to an hour in. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are still following us. The questions have kind of teetered off a little bit, so hopefully you guys are hanging tight and haven't given up on us. But we really appreciate this, and we're really enjoying this. So from a standpoint of going into next year, any thoughts on the girls basketball side, maybe as a team or anything that you'll be looking for?
Just as a team, stay healthy and keep working hard and stay in that gym. And you said as a team, but for a player that I want to see just really take that next level, which she already has, is Brooke Shelley. That girl she's got such a pure jump shot.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to watch her play.
Yeah.
I want to see her get down there on that block and take charge, and say, this is my area and I'm going to make it mine. And if I get the ball down here, I'm scoring, kind of thing. And
absolutely.
She is going to be one that I'm excited to watch and see how she grows and gets and becomes a leader on that team.
Absolutely. You could see her comfort through the course of the season at the elbow, the high post, right? Either maybe finding an extra pass, the jump shot, coming in, maybe getting a rebound. It was, you certainly saw Izzy Reeves and the group, Kayla Niemeyer, working really hard on the blocks, on rebounds, going in hard on the putbacks. But I agree with you. As the year went on, you could see her game kind of transition a little bit. She got in the low block a little bit. The passes were there. They had worked the ball down the baseline to the three-point side. It was a little bit of give-and-go action on that end, and certainly I enjoyed watching her growth from that perspective. So it really, really good. So as we're getting close to the end of our show, you guys, thanks so much for hanging tight. Mr. Shank's given us the thing. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's given us the you're the number one, not the good number. Thumbs up. Thank you. This is a family show, Nima. Come on. So the idea is we'll transition, and the last one will be with boys basketball. If you asked Parker Burnett, Michael Swisher, a few of those guys, if you asked them what the story of the year was for Cashion Athletics, a lot of great ones, obviously. They undoubtedly said Cashion boys basketball, the historic run was the story of the year for Cashion Athletics, and I tend to agree. You feel the same?
And that's what's crazy about this school and this year is the guys that work for the papers, for them to say the highlight of Cashion sports this year was the boys basketball when our football team went to the state championship, played in the state championship game, and that just goes to show you that, hey, that's just what we do. That's just how good of a football team, how good of a school, how good of all of the other things that's going on is, and but definitely well deserved to get that credit from those guys is the boys basketball team.
Absolutely. And so with that, Coach Hardaway, and he's my neighbor now. He lives in the neighborhood, right? Yep. And he still has his coach face all the time, even when he's fishing. But Coach Hardaway will his level of humility around this is just through the roof. I mean, he gives all credit and praise to his players and to the team and the people around him. And certainly, we've been talking to him about this past year. All praise and all credit goes to players. But certainly, I've got to believe Coach Hardaway was excited, had a part of what happened this year. Yeah. And I think one of the things that we talked about, Coach Taylor working through, first-year head coach, working through all the injuries. I think Coach Hardaway's deal was that he had so many options. Mm-hmm. He had three seniors returning that were going to be 3-year starters. Yep. He had basically a player of the year returning, in essence, in Jacob Woody. But then he had all of these sophomores coming back. And I think his coaching job was really trying to manage and how to get to a place where he was working all the parts, growing as a team, helping individuals grow. And I know he will never take credit for that, but obviously that's the big part of coaching and being a leader, right, is motivating, inspiring, getting the pieces to work together and working from there. And as you can see, 25-3, finished the season number 2 in the state. We probably could have felt they were number 1. Oklahoma Union finished number 1 this past year. He was the Northwest Oklahoma Coach of the Year. And again, highlighted historic run to the state tournament first time since 1996 that Cashion made it to the state finals. Unfortunately, fell short because of the COVID-19. They were literally getting on the bus from the pep rally when it was called off. Area consolation champions, nice win over Solera, regional champs, district champs, Three River Conference regular season champs. Again, Parker Burnett highlighted. Again, doing that for the first time, I believe, ever. Hennessy had a kind of a stranglehold on that. Three Rivers Conference Tournament champion winners. That was the second time in history, back-to-back here this past year. Garber Tournament champions. And winning that, by the way, the Garber Tournament, did you know who won Class A basketball?
Garber. Yep. Because theirs was a week earlier,
yep.
so they got to
Yep.
play their state championship in Garber that we beat without
without the football
players, which was TJ and
Alex and some of the
sophomores. But we didn't have two of the starters, and we
yep.
beat the
yep.
yeah
on their home court in the championship. Cash and County Tourney consolation champions, I should say, in there, which we all, I think Michael Swisher dubbed the Hell Week, right? The mini state championship. If you look, I think 5 of the 6 teams made it to state in that tournament on the board. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that was fun. That was fun, though.
It was fun, and being consolation winners, and probably we'll talk about maybe.
I don't know if the coaches think it was fun, but
well, got them ready. Well, maybe that's what got them prepared for that run. And then Distinguished Academic Achievement Award for the team. Certainly, brains following there. Any questions coming up right now?
Well, my mom asked if we recorded it. I'm going to tell her, yeah, I'm doing it right now. So, but no, Jackson Drake, he asked who is going to be, the starters for the girls, and now the guys. I'm going to let you kind of answer that because, for one, I think your son Nick is probably going to kind of step up and take that spot that TJ had last year of that banger down low that gets down there, gets rebounds, takes charges. And really is just a kind of a staple down there on the block that we need to have to be able to be successful. So, I mean, I'm going to kind of let you take the reins on this.
My wife, if my wife is watching, she's probably cringing, going, "Don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything stupid." I think here's the first thing, and I think it's if you're following the Twitter line here, it's been a good one. The discussion. You're losing 3 3-year starters in T.J. Roberts, Jacob Woody, and Alex Nabavi, and this is these are 3 guys that again started since their sophomore year that have helped grow the team, help the team grow and reach new heights, reaching state. That is. I don't know how you replace that, right? Honestly, I don't know. That's a lot of games. Outside of Alex missing a few games because of his thumb in the middle of season, his junior year, those 3 guys never left the court. They were on the court. And so it's hard. But I think from your question, from your standpoint, who's going to replace that? Well, clearly you got to look to Jonah Jenkins and Vance Rainey. You have 2 starters. You're going to expect their growth to continue to move. I know basketball is a huge time, and for summer is a huge time for basketball players. You're looking at club and travel basketball. Hopefully things will be picking up and they can get a rock in their hand and get after it. But you'd like to see Jonah and Vance grow physically, right? Mentally. And skill-wise, those would be 2 guys. Outside of that, it's I don't know. It's hard. So you can look. We saw Trey Tishner come in. He was part of that kind of rotation. That Austin Frazier, who came in. Austin, his minutes grew exponentially, and you could see when Coach Hardaway was in a situation. The Mangum game is a great example where we were behind and we were trading timeouts for offense and defense. Austin Frazier was in there for offense. He was in there. He replaced T.J. Roberts, came in. The kid, and I know everyone feels comfortable with him bringing the ball up as well. So that could give an opportunity for maybe someone like Jonah Jenkins to play a 2 a little bit. Alex Nabavi was a point guard his entire life. As Jonah came up, coach is like, we need to move you. Alex played on the block, high post, was in the wing. He changed his game. This might be an opportunity for Jonah Jenkins to take a little bit of the pressure off of him, having to bring the ball up, have Austin Frazier. And then you have guys, you mentioned Nick Nabavi. I think Nick is a prototypical T.J. Roberts type of guy, a 6-foot kid, 190, 200 pounds, who will literally not move and will move their biggest kid out of the way. And is fundamentally sound, will block out, take the charge. I think he's a good one. Landon Lagasse, lengthy guy. If we think about, does he have the same type of scoring as a Jacob Woody? Probably not right now in this game, but in terms of length, his ability to go up alter shots to play great defense and get rebounds. Certainly there.
High energy.
Yeah.
I mean, when he came in the game, it was always a kind of a lift of energy.
Yeah.
I thought, and that's what he kind of brought to
Yeah.
the table. And like you said, that length only helped.
Yeah, and then you've got a bunch of other. I know you got Bryson Hogan that's gotten some minutes as well. You have
What
Jake.
about Vandruff?
Jake Wilkerson will be the only senior on the team. Vandruff he'll be the wild card. You know, he came in some like at the end of the game, right? First of all, he earned a uniform.
Yep.
He earned a uniform, was able to get on the court.
Is he a freshman?
He was a freshman last year. He's about 6'2", 6'3", and you know he's a football player too. So he's working out just like his brother, working out, getting bigger and stronger. But he came in. He's been really working on his game. His game. He must. I think he had like 4 to 6 points in a few games coming in.
During those cleanup times, you know, a lot of times we had games where it kind of got out of hand. We were quite a bit up, and he would come in, and you're just like, I'm sure other teams were thinking, why do you have this guy in? Well, he's a freshman. He's just getting time because he would get the ball and
take
score.
full advantage of it though.
Yeah,
he 100%. And you know his work was on the putback, right? Yeah. So he got a lot of his points on that rebound, you know, assertive, aggressive, and going back up. So yeah, certainly I think from that standpoint, you might have some other incoming freshmen that might have a chance. So it'll be interesting. But the one thing about this team is, you know, in the story with Cashin has always been we're not super big. Like we're not going to have that.
We don't have that
6'7", you know, 250 kid.
Yeah.
So it'll be you know, play small, a lot of pressure, a lot of three-point shooting.
But you know, like you were talking about with the Twitter conversation, you know, and what people were saying is, you know, you had those 3 seniors, you know, people are going to think, well, those 3 seniors are gone, they're going to have a drop-off. It's not going to be much of a drop-off.
No, I don't think so.
With the experience that Vance and Jonah had this year, and then just to have another year of experience, and like you said, the work over the summer, hopefully they get a lot of work, along with all that other talent that's coming up. They're going to be tough to beat again next year, and hopefully make it back and have a chance to.
Oh, absolutely! I'm not going to speak for Hardaway or anything, but I would absolutely believe that if you think about next year, you would expect another strong run. Now, here's the deal. Here's the story for next year, right? So we know they've got skill. What are folks that like Jonah and there's a lot of questions about Jonah Jenkins and being the best point guard in the state, and statistically he had a phenomenal year last year. Well, obviously from point, and we saw huge plays. Dale game, the Mangum game. He had 25 against Mangum. He had some phenomenal games. I think that the transition going into next year will be Jacob Woody drew the scout, right? Jacob Woody, Alex Nabavi, in some cases, in a lot of cases, drew the scout of the defense. Sometimes either junk defenses, whether it's a box and 1 or triangle and 2. We saw that last year. They drew a lot of the attention. So what will happen this year, coming up next year, when the bullseye or the spotlight are on those guys? Yeah. What will happen? Do I believe that they'll shine? Absolutely. I think they're going to grow. You saw their abilities. Vance Rainey and both Vance and Jonah were some of the top 3-point shooters in Class 2A last year. It's you know, in the 40% range. Yep. You would expect that to get better. And that's going to be pretty lethal, and that's what I think some of the things that Coach Hardaway will definitely have to contend with. And then you got pieces like, again, Austin Frazier. You got guys coming in. Nick Nabavi have a chance to come in, Landon Lagasse, and their group to be able to make a difference as role players on the team.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, as they go on, this year I think is going to help them, not only because they got a lot of playing time and they had the success they did. Yeah. But man, Jonah, with being able to pass that ball, find open guys, and you know, kind of lean on his teammates sometimes, and then whenever he needed to, he would make the plays. Yeah. And but I'm like you, I want to see how he, you know, kind of handles that when he's got the man on him, which I think by the end of it, a lot of times they had the man on. They had their best defender on Jonah, trying to slow him down, but like you said. we want to see who kind of steps up and takes those positions.
Yeah.
There's nobody going. I don't think there's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to replace Jacob Woody with the talent that he had of scoring and just his length and his kind of his leadership.
Yeah,
out
you want to be optimistic about the future, but you also want to respect who is there, right? So, I mean, the idea is that if you're somebody that's guarding Jonah and Jonah's driving, if you're on Jacob Woody, your coach told you stay on Jacob Woody, right? So that creates an opportunity. Jonah took full advantage of it. His ball handling skills, I call him the Chris Paul of Class 2A basketball. The kid was phenomenal. I think he's going to be able to do that. I know that Vance is going to be able to do that. I know these guys are going to be able to take that next step. I want to see it. I'm waiting. I'm optimistic and waiting for it to see what happens. It's going to be, as you said, football will be another fun year, and I think for both the boys and girls team, basketball will be another fun, exciting year. We're going to have a great time. We'll be going into all these games expecting to win, and it'll be good for sure.
Do you want to show that I kind of made 2 little highlight videos of the basketball.
Let's do it.
I made a video of the girls, the last win they had against Stratford, and I kind of wanted to highlight that game because that game right there is a game where they had a great start. They let a team kind of come back, and that was kind of the theme of the season for them was, they had a lot of injuries. The girls got tired sometimes, and it kind of showed. Well, this game they persevered, and they got that lead. The team came back, and then at the end, they had big clutch shots, big clutch ball handling by Neely, big shots by Brooke Shelley to put them back up and close out that game. And I just thought that was a good kind of overall game to kind of finish the season off.
Absolutely. So let's go to that video real quick. Hang tight with us, and we'll finish up here with boys basketball. All right, man, that's a great video. Nice, and I love that last picture there of those girls, and it just reminded me of those 3 seniors again. I know you got some comments, but it just reminded me those 3, Kaylin Niemeyer and Cedar Stewart and Kate. I know we talked about Cedar and and Caitlin a lot. Again, Caitlin was the glue of that team. You know, one of the things I loved about her was this idea of her being injured so many times over the course of her career at Cashin, coming in and really doing a lot of great work on the block and definitely on the defensive side for Cashin. So certainly great video, Chris. I love that, man. It was great.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's easy to make videos when you got teams like we've got. I'm just telling you.
Fantastic. So we had some stuff I wanted to make sure. We're going to jump over to the boys real quick, but wanted to make sure and highlight another thing I offer that I got here. Lauren Lamb led 2A in free throw shooting. So
she was clutch at the free throw line.
Yeah, as her brother Griffin would say, ice in her veins,
right.
Winning that. And one of the, if we were to think about some of the games that I really remembered the most, that overtime game on senior night at Crossings,
Yep.
that was a big one. And she got fouled hitting it, trying to shoot a three,
Yeah,
hit all three.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yep.
Yeah, certainly.
I'll be shooting free throws in the driveway trying to get to her level, but I don't think it's happening.
All right, so great video there. Certainly a nice montage and celebration of the girls team. Any other comments on the girls before we move over to some of the boys' individual winners?
No, and the Niemeyer, like you said, her leadership was
Yep.
the big, huge part of this team this year, and just having her to lean on some of those other girls that got injured to say, hey, I'm injured, but look what I could, if I work hard, I'll be back out there playing.
Absolutely.
And Cedar Stewart, I kind of wanted to say to her, she came into a new situation.
She
and
did.
It's hard, when you're a senior, where you come into a team where you don't know anybody. Those girls really brought her in, made her feel a part of the team, and she shined on the team, and it was good. It was a cool thing to see, and it was I enjoyed watching her play.
I did. Yeah, great player. Really enjoyed her energy and really the emotion. Definitely going into the playoffs. You can see it with the three seniors.
Yep.
There was no quit. There was no. I mean, I know Cedar ended up, I think, fouling out of the last game. The emotion, just the fatigue. Certainly, much kudos to those three for sure. If we take a look at the boys' year in review individually. Well, when you have a good year, a lot of things happen, and I think I could have had our own slide just for Jacob Woody on the accolades.
Great year.
Kid had a great, phenomenal year.
Great,
18 and 8,
career.
Great career. Absolutely 1,000-point scorer for sure. Easy. I think it may have been early on in the season, and he didn't even play his freshman year, right? He had a chance to come in and start his sophomore year, but definitely did great work over his career. Again. One of 3 Cashin All-Staters now in basketball. So he's on a short list there here in Cashin. Congratulations, OCA Small West All-State, OCA Small West 2A All-Star, OBCA District 1 All-Star team, the Oklahoman Class 2A All-State first team, Oklahoman Little All-City first team. Also made the Tulsa World All-State. And when you make a Tulsa World list, even at honorable mention, that's a pretty good day because they don't like to come over on the west side.
They don't
They got to
really
recognize.
City and recognize it. They want to keep their Tulsa kids, but
Yeah.
he shined bright enough that they saw that.
They saw it too. Three Rivers Conference Player of the Year, Enid News All Northwest First Team, and CTP All Area Team. I know. I missed a couple of. I bet you Lee will be texting me here, and I missed a couple, but certainly a litany. And I think something. If you think about the legacy, All State that lives forever, right? And so that's a great piece of recognition for Jacob Woody and the work that he's put in over the last 3 years here at Cashin. His partner in crime, his neighbor Alex Nabavi. Better known for his football stuff, but certainly was able to win a few awards. It's led here by the OBCA Academic All-State. He was an Academic All-Stater on the basketball side. He was an OCA Small West 2A All-Star. He made honorable mention for the Class 2A All-State. These are great recognition locally. Oklahoman Little All-City honorable mention. Three Rivers Conference All-Conference. He and Jacob were both Three Rivers Conference winners, and made Enid News All Northwest honorable mention. So not bad for a football player to come in and get a little bit of recognition on the basketball side for him.
Definitely, it's awesome to have those all-around kids in your school, and then on top of that, they're smart. They get those academic awards, and that's what's going to really matter in the big picture of things.
Absolutely. So if we take a look, we're not done there. We mentioned Jonah, but we'll start with Caden LaFortune Sr. He's also an OBCA academic All-State. He was the moniker of LaBang. He was our three-point guy coming in. And TJ Roberts, again, a multi-sport athlete. Again, multiple sports, football, basketball, baseball, along with golf as well. Three Rivers All-Conference honorable mention along with the youth here. And let's talk about that here for a second. Vance Rainey was honorable mention on the Three Rivers All-Conference, but on the other side, Jonah Jenkins. Again, we've been asked, we see it on Twitter all the time, my point guard's better than your point guard, and certainly that was seen here with Jonah Jenkins. He was an Oklahoman Class 2A All-Stater, honorable mention. I think he averaged right around 10.5 points on the season, had well over 100 assists on the year, certainly, and one of the top three-pointers in Class 2A. Honorable mention, Little All-City, Three Rivers All-Conference team, as well as the Enid News All-Northwest honorable mention. So a lot of great leadership leaving, but certainly a lot of guys coming back in to fill that spot.
Yes, definitely. And those, like you said, there just shows you Jonah and Vance. They're already really great players, and they're going to have 2 more years to really shine and get better. And I'm excited to see where that goes. And if you're going to say your point guard is better than our point guard, you better go to work. Is all I know, because the kid is good.
Yeah. So Jeremy Branton chimes in with that classic picture. You'll have to follow Jeremy on Twitter. I'm sure he's posted it a few times, but certainly that is the case. And I was there was I mentioned on Twitter, I think one of the club basketball teams, it may have been the Oklahoma Eagles 2022 team, or it was Oklahoma Preps. It was Adam Francisco in that group, and Matt Reynolds. They were talking about Jonah Jenkins coming back next year, and they were basically saying what it would be like his senior year, and the comments that I saw was, well, wait, he's only going to be a junior next year. So certainly the future's bright for Coach Hardaway with Jonah and Vance returning as starters and the group, and with that we've got a great video that we'll kind of wrap it up here. And
this video is just that this is their last game. Little did we know this would be their last game that they got to play.
You're going to make me cry.
But it was just kind of, I wanted to just highlight this game to remind everybody this is where we left off. We didn't get to finish they didn't get to finish their story, but this is what we're going to remember them for. And you're going to have to argue with anybody from Cashion if you didn't think we all thought they were going to go ahead and we know we got beat by Minka, but we were ready to beat them when we got to that state championship game.
Yeah.
And this video right here just kind of shows that last game and shows you what I remember.
Allow yourself to feel me. Allow yourself to be free.
I like to say about Cash and its location, it's a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. 3 left side.
We could be like fire. No one could put us out. We burn so bright.
Offensive rebound. Lagasse will get the finish inside.
Just to feel the energy of our life. Yeah, we could burn like fire, 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 fire.
Pretty good right-handed shot for a lefty. Three-pointer, top of the key, buried by Jacob Woody. His first triple, his second field goal.
What you waiting for?
Who comes up with it? Cashion does. They've got the numbers going back the other way. Pass. Jonah Jenkins to Nabavi for the layup.
What you waiting for? What you waiting for?
Shade turnover.
What you waiting for?
3 in the corner. Yes, sir.
It wouldn't harm or hold us down. No, we could never ever drown. And if the desert winds find us,
Here they come again. Down the floor to Tishner. Little strong. Tack.
Jackson
rebound.
again.
Van Driffel finish. That'll do it. Congratulations to the Cashion Wildcats. They win their 25th game of the season, running away from it from Calera, 61 to 26.
what you waiting for?
Yeah, fantastic video. I love that. I love that. You could see. You mean that was a special night, man.
Yeah.
That was a special night. You could see it.
Yeah, I mean, it was something we haven't done. Cashin as a school, as boys basketball, hadn't been there since '94. Was it
96.
96.
Yep.
And to get to that point again, and then a lot of emotions coming out that night. And I didn't even get to go to that game, but I watched it at the house. I mean, we were all into it too, and it was a pretty cool.
Yeah, it's probably good that I wasn't doing the game. It probably was really good. I was enjoying sitting up in the upper section up there with my family.
Alex, what did y'all feed that kid that night? Because he could not miss from 3-point.
Well, the prior night against Minko, he had probably the worst game he's ever had in his career. I think he had like 2 points. It was just awful. And that morning, and even Coach Hardaway even mentioned it, I think maybe in an article or on a segment, that he could tell there was a different, like he clicked it. And I didn't even have to say a word to him. And I didn't say a word to him after the Minko game. I didn't say anything before. I just wished him good luck. And but you could tell.
It's almost like he just went out there and played and said, "Hey, either this is my last game. If this is gonna be my last game, I'm gonna go out and just play my best."
That's exactly it, Chris. That's exactly it. I think you hit it on the head. Parker Burnett chimed in. I think for him, looking at the boys basketball, winning the Three Rivers tournament again, I think for him beating number 2 Dale in the Cashin tournament, I think was and he said his quote here. I think when Jonah went bananas. And that was a game where we were behind the whole game.
Yep.
And then they went stall ball at the end of the third quarter. I think it was the end of the third quarter. They went stall ball, and I think that kind of threw everything off for them. And then came back, I think, at the end of the game. I think there was a big three by Alex. There was a give and go from Vance hitting Alex cutting on the baseline. Jacob had a huge steal. I think it was another huge foul on their part, another rebound. Jonah had a phenomenal game in that game. Yep. Certainly for him, winning the regular season conference title for the first time, getting past regionals, and then Parker mentioned Alex's crazy game in that last one. That was kind of nuts. Certainly, there was a lot of individual accomplishments, obviously a lot of team accomplishments, a team for the ages, and it's a shame that we'll never be able to see them take on. They were expected to play hooker that afternoon. So it's a shame that didn't happen. But we talked about next year for basketball. Anything else stand out from your perspective?
I was sitting here thinking to kind of cap this off, and I was like, well, we didn't even talk about golf. I mean, you kind of brought it up with TJ a little bit, but golf. I mean, they had a chance to really do some.
Jake Wilkerson, TJ, Hayden Aaron.
Yep. And then Sam. Did Sam play golf? No, that was Seth. Seth played golf, didn't he? But I mean, they had a chance to do some really good things in golf.
Both on the boys and girls
sides of things that they never even got a chance to step on the course and do anything there. And then just want to kind of highlight those track kids again because I mean there was some kids that weren't seniors. That we're going to get to see them go again on our own track at some point that's out there being built, as we speak. Yep. But those seniors, your heart breaks for like Madeline because she was like I think Parker said the GOAT. I mean it's just one of those kids that is just next level. Yep. And she is that next level on a national level. I mean, at some point we could see her in the Olympics, with some of the things that she does.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, heck yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Cash in America.
Yeah.
And I think she has it in her. Yeah. I do. And I think those things right there, those kids that didn't even get to shine or play their sport, and then baseball. I mean, it just kind of got rolling, and there were many kids.
They were ranked 6th in the state, and this is a team that went to the regional finals last year that had a ton of pitching and a ton of offense coming back. It was going to be a special year for Coach Mounts.
And so, I mean, just those things that there wasn't a highlight video for any of those kids, but we know they were there, and we know that they were prepared and they were ready to roll. It just didn't get to happen, and but we'll be ready to watch those kids that are still around next year, and we'll be looking forward to watching a bunch of those kids that are moving on. I mean, I don't know how many. I think somebody had.
Yeah,
posted-
Karen McCabe, I think, mentioned maybe 25% of the senior class. So I'm going to mess this up, and I probably shouldn't even start. But you mentioned Sam Brown and Madeline going to on a track scholarship.
Yep.
I think it Northwestern. No.
I'd have to
It was
look.
one of the state schools in Louisiana. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. I don't have all those down. We know on the football side, Ryan Baker at OSU and Austin Vandruff, Northwest OSU, and Alex Nabavi at OBU, Oklahoma Baptist. Baseball, Logan Lagasse, and baseball, we have, I believe, Kyle Jones is running cross country at Rose State. I believe Kayla Niemeyer is going to do row. She's going to be on crew at UCO. Basketball, Cedar Stewart at OCU. Caton Taylor at Southwestern. And Jacob Woody still hasn't
Did you
announced.
say Austin Vandruff?
Austin Vandruff, Northwest OSU,
Yep,
the
okay.
Rangers, and Alva.
And then Madeline and Sam, they're going to Southeastern Louisiana.
Southeastern Louisiana.
Yes,
Okay.
University.
No,
So-
but- and then I think we have Jacob Woody, who's still undecided.
But
He
got
has offers,
offers,
to go play basketball. So certainly a lot. I am sorry. I'll be sorry in advance if I miss somebody. I'm sure someone will text.
Well, that's just what the crazy thing is. How many of these seniors, have that talent to go to the next level? Usually, it's like, hey, we have one or two.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many we can't even think.
Well,
of.
to Karen McCabe's point, I mean, 25% of the senior class is going to
Yeah.
go do something at the next level, and there's others that probably could have. They just decided to hang up their cleats or their spikes or whatever, or their basketball shoes, and say that's it for.
Just go get a
Go,
college
I'm going to
education,
go
to work.
do my thing.
And,
So
and that's another thing I kind of wanted to end on too, is the fact that how many of these kids have academic.
yeah,
That they could probably get an academic scholarship and probably
They
are
have,
getting
yeah, they have.
academic scholarships along with the athletics, and the kids that aren't even in athletics at all. I mean, those kids, the chess team. I mean, was it they won the area
chess team. That's
chess
right.
stuff,
And we had academic bowl team that went off to
academic
regionals.
bowl. And so that's the thing. We are kind of highlighting all the sports, but there are so many kids graduating this year and that are coming up that are really, really, really smart, and that just is a reflection of our education first attitude here at Cashion. And yes, we have great sports, but that education is what comes first, and that's why I think that's why they succeed, is because they're well-rounded.
Absolutely, amen. That's a great message, great story, and we look at that in terms of our all-staters. They're also great kids in the classroom as well. We had several all-staters this year, and it's a situation where they're winners in life as well. So certainly a great story. We probably missed something. We probably forgot
Let us
someone.
know, and we'll blast
We
it
are
out on
sorry.
Twitter,
We're just
Facebook.
two goofballs that have a camera and internet access, which is dangerous. But I think if you just think about the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish today, it's to celebrate, to acknowledge and recognize all the great work that's been done this year. We certainly, we'll have a chance to do that during graduation and with year-end awards. Most likely virtually done with the year-end awards, but. We wanted to just take this opportunity. Sports are important to our lives, and we wanted to make sure and give an opportunity to say thanks for allowing us to follow your kids this year. And the future's bright for us as well. So, if you think about going into next year, we're getting a little bit better. As you can tell, our production is a little bit better. We've got visuals to go along with the craziness that is Chris and I. We plan on maybe trying to talk the administration and getting us another camera, trying to get another camera, maybe get a sideline camera to improve the broadcast for those of you that can't make it to the games or want to watch it again. Our broadcast numbers are fantastic. We led of all the Squirtle schools, which are in the 20s at least, we were the number one in terms of total viewership and attendance, and that's because of you guys, and we're grateful. But we plan on getting better and better into next year. We're looking, as Chris offered up, we're trying to talk Sammy into hiring somebody to maybe teach a class, but we're definitely open, adults and kids. We're open to support. Let us know if you'd like to be a part of this. We'll find something for you to do. If you can manage PowerPoint or handle a social media account or whatever the case may be, we certainly will obviously have that conversation.
I want to offer up thanks to Brad Stone. I used some of his
Please,
pictures,
thank you. Yes.
pictures, him being at almost every game and providing our kids with some awesome memories to take along. So
Brad Stone's been phenomenal. I mean, we've literally stolen from him all year,
Yeah.
and we try to give him credit as best we can. It doesn't always happen. But again, another guy who has a great talent here in this community, who's giving back, and we certainly appreciate that, Brad Stone and Jaron sometimes out there, and
Yep.
certainly we don't ever want to overstep. If you have videos that you want to make and produce, go for it, Brad. Send them over to us, and we'll air them for you. But we're looking to improve on what we're doing. We're going to try to do some coaches shows next year. Maybe give you guys something during the week. Not a huge production, maybe an iPhone in about 10 minutes with the coaches, with Coach Shaq. Shaq has agreed to do this. We'll see how long that lasts. He may kick us out and say we're no longer doing this, but our hope is to continue to try to provide you as much coverage into the great student athletes and coaches and teams that we have here at Cashin. I've gotten some things here. Jacob Woody, Prep Hoops 2A MVP, All-State. I think Alex Nababi was on the second team for that team, and Harley Miller got offered for football. Just decided he's going to go to OSU and do his thing. So, good for him. I know there's others. And again, we mentioned
Harley's another kid that has been he on that line, didn't get all of the star attention, but he was one of those kids that was just the main frame.
If I saw Harley Miller running at me in pads, I would be getting out of the way. I would be, as you would say, make a business decision. I would be getting out of the way. Harley Miller was fantastic. Quinlan Priest as well. I know we all those guys don't always get all the pub on the line as well. You're right, but wanted to mention that we had. And if we've forgotten something, let us know. We'll try to post these graphics on Twitter through the course and Facebook through the course of the week, and the videos over the course of the next week, so you guys can have that. This video will be archived. I don't know if we have anybody else watching. It may be just
They probably tuned
space.
out now.
They're like, oh, they're done. They're just talking. They're whatever. But again, we are super grateful that you've joined us here tonight on this. We'll try to definitely continue to take your advice, give us your suggestions on feedback on how we can be doing better, and we certainly want to do that for you all.
If
because
you want some cool gear like this, go to cashinbaseball.com, www.cashinbaseball.com. All this stuff is available on there, and it all supports the cost of the Cashin Athletic Sports Association, the youth baseball,
the future high schoolers
of the high school teams. If you want any of these shirts, they have a lot of cool gear, cool mugs. Get on there and check it out, and buy some and support the kids.
That's outstanding. We're sitting at 8:30, Chris. We literally. We literally almost went for 2 hours.
Lots of great things to talk about this year.
Yeah, I guess that's the dilemma. So with that, I'm Neiman Ababi. It's my partner, Chris Gibson. Fantastic partner here. We're so grateful and blessed to be a part of this. We're so grateful for you all joining us. Please continue to follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, as we continue to provide updates on how we're doing. Sammy's giving us he's telling us, get out of here, cut it out, get into the hook. We're like we're on the Showtime at the Apollo. But again, thanks so much to our administration, Sammy and Mr. Shank, as well as our sponsor, Coach Hardaway. We're super grateful, and we're so pleased to have had a chance to bring this to you all and memorialize what was a fantastic year in Cashin Athletics. So on behalf of Chris, I'm Nima. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless and go Cats.